What's up, everybody? Jensen Cummings here. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Today is Best Served Podcast 352. We're talking stories of launching and marketing a virtual kitchen with ChefReady. This is part one of three. As always, tell your best story, episode number 11 in that series. All right, this is a really unique opportunity. This is 352. We've done 400 shows in the whole series of Best Served throughout the last year and a half, and we've met so many people, so many organizations, so many businesses. I've been so lucky to be able to interact with so many of you throughout the industry. You haven't really seen what we do behind the scenes a lot, and we are supporting a lot of businesses and organizations with professional services, with supporting them in operations and finance and product development, business development, all of the things that it takes to run these businesses. And ChefReady, for now just over a year, we've been working with to bring this concept to life. ChefReady is a virtual food hall, is basically what we call that. There's really 5 types of kind of virtual kitchen, ghost kitchens, and we'll link up. We have a really good Clubhouse episode that talks about the different models of those, and I think it's important, as this is an emerging model, that you kind of understand that. So definitely go and check that out. With a virtual food hall, basically there's a space in Denver, Colorado that houses 10 kitchens, 250, 300 square feet, that individual operators can lease for 1-3 years, something in that range. So short-term lease, not a 10-year lease, maybe like a traditional brick and mortar, and bring their concept to life, test new concepts, run multiple concepts at the same time in an exclusively carry out and delivery model. So there is a walk-up space that somebody could come pick up their order. The majority of that is going out via third-party delivery apps, be it DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, or a last mile solution. That means you're coming to the website of the restaurant themselves, and there's multiple services to be able to fulfill that delivery model, bringing food into people's homes. This is revolutionary for us in the industry, because it's shifting the relationship, and I think it's important opportunity, and it also comes with inherent struggles as we figure out how to navigate kind of that new landscape. But going beyond just pizza and Chinese food as those typical delivery foods over the last couple decades, being able to get, and you'll meet the tenants, the food that you'll be able to get into your home, it's an important dynamic. And we've overlooked to go and carry out food, and not even looked at delivery at all in the restaurant scene over the last 25 years. And I think this is a big shift. Some people love it, some people struggle with it. So we're going to get into that kind of stuff throughout this series as well. Workplace is worth working. You know how important that is. Tell your best story. You know how important those. These are bedrock to what we believe in at Best Served, and we really wanted to help them develop these models of being able to have strong wages, benefits, culture, education, how we invest in those things. And so really proud of the work that Neely Pointer, Stephen Mollick, brother and sister team have done in kind of being visionary around creating something different, something new. And so excited to introduce you in this episode to some of the team that is actually part of the ChefReady team, and the way that they work alongside the tenants that operate these kitchens is that they handle a lot of the front end technology. They can be answering the phones. They're running back to the kitchens to bring that food to the front. They're having the relationships with the drivers to make sure the drivers get the right food, the food gets out in a timely manner, and being able to interact in that way. Very different, very meaningful, and it takes a lot of collaboration. So I think that's important. And I'm excited to introduce you to this concept. We don't get to do this very often. So this is a 3-part series. You're going to meet some of the team today. You're going to then have the opportunity to meet some of the tenants over the next couple of days and hear their stories, what they're all about, the upstart food entrepreneur mentality, what that takes. Again, the joys and the pains of all of that. All right, I want to start and bring in Brenda Ontiveros from the team here, who is the assistant general manager. Brenda, good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, so I want to first just kind of generally get a sense from you of how long you've been with ChefReady. You've been there since pre-opening, obviously, and been working behind the scenes to get this thing ready. So just like a high level, the sense that you had. And then I very specifically am interested in talking about this virtual model versus the dine-in model that you have a lot of experience in. Also the technology, the again, the joys and the pains of that. It can help us a lot. And sometimes we want to pull our hair out. So I want to talk about those things. But let's start for you. What's been kind of the experience of working with ChefReady thus far?
It's new. All of it has been new. It's been pretty eye-opening, honestly, in the sense of how new it is to a lot of people.
Yes.
I want to say it's pretty new around, the States, honestly. Um, when I first started, I didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of applied and I figured it was going to be, another kitchen that just needed to go orders delivered and that was it. But it's not, at least not here. It's very
Okay.
different. It's a whole different culture. It's more tight in a family sense, where
Good to hear.
we see everybody here every day, and we see their struggles and we help them as much as we can. One of our mottos is, if we want to help you succeed, if we succeed, we all succeed. Um, and so it's been a ride. It's been a ride.
I can tell just it's hard to put words to it a little bit because we've come up in this industry where it's butts and seats. We know the interaction, we know the expectation. Even if you're doing fast food, fast casual, casual dining, you're doing fine dining, there's still an understanding of the interaction, the relationship, the transaction that's going to happen. This is very new and it takes a lot of explaining. And even when you're on the inside, you're like, I still don't know quite how to tell people about this, and so I understand that completely, and I appreciate the fact that there's a lot of vulnerability in that. Yet anybody who does something new, to your point, like there's a lot of stuff to figure out, and I've been really impressed with your team because the core team that we're going to meet today has been together for months and months and months and months, getting this all ready to go because it is always harder, takes longer, and costs more money to be able to bring something new to life. And so I've really appreciated seeing all of you work, and you especially are very organized, very detailed. Sam, who we're going to hear from, the GM later, sings your praises of like you keep everything aligned and on track, which is really challenging when we don't know what we're doing in this new model, right? So we
Yeah.
take the skills and experience that we have, we apply them in the ways that we see, and then we're flexible because we're having to develop systems that have not been developed before. So I want to really, really highlight that. I want to talk about some of the differences, right? So you don't have a dining room. There is nowhere for somebody to sit. There's not benches out front, anything. Somebody's walking in the door on their way home from work. They're picking up 2 bags of food from one of the tenants. They're walking out the door back in their car and they're going home. Or it's a driver who's working a shift. They're going to be delivering food via Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats for the next 6 hours. And they're popping in every time there's an order and delivering those to people's homes. So there's a very short relationship span. So I'm interested, the virtual versus dining, what are the most glaring differences for you on your side?
Um, yeah, it's very, very different. We do have that quick interaction where it's probably less than 3 minutes, where first impressions is everything.
Yes.
We try to make everybody welcome, no matter who it is, whether it's a customer picking up their own food, or if it's a driver that's been driving for hours and is picking up more food, whatever it is, we really try to interact with them the best that we can in those last 3 minutes that we see them. We actually we have snacks and coffee and water just so that they can take that small little break of,
Yes.
what, let me relax for a second. Or I'm in a hurry. I'm hungry. I need something to keep me going. Like, we
Let's go.
want them to know that they can come here and do that and have that. Um, so the interaction is very quick,
Yeah.
which,
But still hospitality, right?
oh, for sure, for
It's still
sure.
a relationship, no matter how
Mhm.
quick it is. And you have now understood. Sometimes we take for granted. I have somebody in my dining room for 45 minutes. We got a lot of time to romance them and
Yeah.
figure out how to like have the best experience. 3 minutes, you better have it together and be able to like really have an impact in a short term and be efficient with their time because they need to get out the door quickly. So I appreciate that. I want to touch on just for a moment before we bring in Xavier to speak to us next, who I really want to talk to about relationship with drivers a little bit more. The technology, so much technology, right? There's an order aggregator, Cubo, where you have all these different entities that orders are coming through. Then it gets onto one tablet for the tenants themselves. You're seeing those orders. There's a KDS, a kitchen display system. They're bumping the orders from the kitchen to you to know to send a food runner back to grab the food. There's a lot of technology going on there, right? Square is involved somehow. I can't even remember how. Like a lot of different integrations and workarounds and technology, and it's exhausting. So touch on that for a moment. The technology, how has it helped you do your job? What are you struggling with a little bit?
So technology,
here we go.
Been a doozy. We're learning as we go, but I kind of took it upon myself to really get to know the process and the flow of the technology, because once I figured out exactly what a virtual kitchen was, I noticed that it literally is all technology. Without the technology, there's no orders coming in, there's no orders going out, there is nothing happening. People can make food, and without it, there will be nothing. Yeah. So there has been a roller coaster of emotions with technology. Mm-hmm. We have figured out, that there is more integrations that we thought were going to be needed. More devices than we thought were going to be needed, mm-hmm. In order for things to flow just the way we wanted them to flow and as easy, as simple as possible. But we got it going. It took us about, a couple of months, but we got it just in time before everybody started opening up their kitchens. We were able to test everything out, and now we're kind of seeing the kinks of the technology, and we're able to see the luxury kind of features that we have too. Sure. Now that we have it up and running and we see things coming in. But
I think I'm going to touch on technology with everybody, because here's something that I really want out of this. The tech companies really need to understand the human experience of this, because sometimes they're creating these perfect solutions in a vacuum, in a bubble, and don't realize that humans need to be able to deploy this, and the struggles and the challenges and all of that is so important. So Brenda, appreciate you highlighting this. Thank you so much for the work that you've done. You've, especially on the Best Serve side, so often made our jobs easy, because you, Sam, Laurel, Xavier, the whole team have really been able to take some of the high level things and the infrastructure that we've put in place and run with it and made it better than we could have even imagined. So great work there. Brenda, appreciate you. We're going to let you go, right?
Thank you.
Cheers. All right. I want to bring in Xavier Dorsey next, expediter and expo at ChefReady. Xavier, good to see you in the kitchen. And also we're going to meet Andre Dorsey, Dorsey Catering. So your family is integrated in all of ChefReady. You all have your own concept there at ChefReady, and then you're also working on the ChefReady team, which is a separate team. They work in conjunction, but that is a separate team to kind of create some clarity for everybody. So I'm very interested to hear about driver relations side. You being the expo, you are that linchpin. You are at the front door. You are manning the technology. You are making sure that yourself or other food runners are sending Brenda or Sam back to make sure that food is run in a timely manner. You also are the one that's kind of, a lot of times, those 3 minutes that Brenda mentioned of creating that driver relations. The reason that I'm asking this, Xavier, is because there's a lot of animosity between third-party delivery drivers and restaurants, because we haven't taken the time to understand the relationship in the hospitality. Front of house in restaurants, a lot of times, like, well, they're stealing our tips. People come in the door with their red bag. They don't know where to stand. There's awkwardness, all of these things. So I wanted to touch on, for you, what's it been like building relationships with drivers as they kind of walk in your front door?
Well, it's been kind of awkward for me. Myself, I'm a little shy. So in those 3 minutes when the driver's waiting for their food, it's small talk. Hi, how are you? How's it going? How long have you been a driver? Stuff like that. And it's these simple questions that I'm starting to learn how to pick up when the drivers like start to open up and just explain to me how their process has been as a driver, how long they've been driving. They've given me some tips on what the tech world looks like on their side. So it's been kind of fun. It's been pretty fun. Something learning how to be an expediter, talking to these customers, drivers. It's new to me. So
I appreciate that. I think that, I mean, to the point, 3 minutes is new to everybody to be able to try and create a little relationship in that short term, still be efficient with the time and the expectation. I love the little touches that you're all doing with the coffees and the waters, like make them feel like you care about them. I think that's the first part. We definitely care about them, learning their names, those little things that we do for guests in the dining room in restaurants traditionally. We should be doing that for anybody who's a part of the team to help get that great food, that great experience to the guest. So I really appreciate that for sure. The technology, I think we're going to talk about this a lot because it is so brand new. It is such a struggle sometimes, yet to Brenda's point, this concept, it wouldn't exist. There would be no orders. There's no running out to the table to double check what the person actually ordered. There is no table. So you're up there at the front door. You have, technology all around you. Talk about that. I know it's been a learning curve for everybody, for you especially being one who's like really responsible for being right there in front of that tech as the shift is going on. What's that been like for you?
It's been a process.
That's a nice way to put it.
Ideally, it should work. In a perfect world, it works. But every day, I have to check it for every single restaurant. I have to make sure that everything's connected to the proper thing. I have to make sure that they're getting in their orders from third-party apps or that their orders are coming in from their website. I have to make sure that the printer connections are working so that way the chef gets the ticket. That way it pops up on the TV so they can see the order. It's something else.
Yeah, you had no idea half your job was going to be tech support. Right?
At all. I mean, when I was in training, I was told I was going to have to handle tech, but had no idea it was going to be like this. And I mean, it's not like it's hard. Now that we've been doing it for a few months, it's easy. It's quick for me. It doesn't take me long to check the tech to make sure it's up and running. It's just like second nature at this point. Yeah. I'm not saying I like checking the tech. Ideally, it should work, but I can do it.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is there's a lot of like redundancy. You need to check and double check and triple check and like one little chink in the whole process and it just doesn't work, right? And integrations, Brenda mentioned it, I mentioned it. I had no idea what that word meant. And it's like every conversation you have when you're talking about technology, there's some type of integration this or API that, and it's like learning a new language a little bit. So I appreciate the hustle and the struggle to be able to see that through, which is important. I want to take a moment again. Your family has a concept there. You also kind of being the second generation of that family and what that dynamic's like. I also remember early on seeing you all doing a couple like just fun little videos kind of introducing the concept and stuff. What's it been like kind of being the connective tissue, being on social media a little bit for your family business, but also ChefReady? What's that been like for you personally?
Well, it's kind of like I'm in two different worlds right now. One world being handling the tech with my father, our company, making sure Dorsey's Catering is up and running smoothly, making sure we're marketing. I've been making flyers for my father. I've been helping them with TikToks, Instagram, Facebook.
I was thinking that you were helping with the TikTok. I've been seeing it and Andre's active.
Yeah, my dad has it pretty well down to doing it himself. I mean, he understands it, so that's good for me. I don't have to help him with everything.
Yeah. Nice. You just had to get Pops all caught up on the tech and say, look,
this is how it works.
Days are going to be a big part of ordering food. So you better figure out what kids these days are doing. And TikTok is a huge opportunity and communication tool. So I appreciate that. You keep pushing them, keep making sure that we're producing content, that we're storytelling, 80% of your business as an operator is marketing, 20% is just the food, right? So I think it's a really important thing. So Xavier, really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for being connective tissue. I've definitely felt that in talking to Andre, talking to Sam and the team, that like your ability to see kind of all sides of the equation and bring unique perspective and have that youthful eye as well. They need you, my friend. So I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, cheers. You have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All right, we are going to bring in Laurel Moore, who's a supervisor there, another one of the core team at ChefReady. Laurel, good to see you.
Good morning. Nice to see you too.
Does your shirt say "Be kind"? Does your hoodie say "Be kind"? Yes.
It does.
How great, because I want to spend some time talking about what we call workplaces worth working, really spending time on those wages, benefits, culture, education, something that's been missing and lacking and not a focal point of the restaurant, because we focus too much on the food, too much on the drink sometimes, and forget about the humans that actually need to be a part of this. It's been something that's been very, very fundamental for ChefReady and a challenge. You know, it's not the prototypical way that a restaurant is built, and our team, especially Andrew Parr, have been steadfast in trying to develop this, and yourself, Brenda, Sam especially, have like really stayed committed to this. So want to just hear from you, the work culture. What's it been like being part of this team?
Well, first of all, like Brenda said, it really is a family here. Let me move this so I don't have so much glare. We're definitely a family. We have been working and training for several months before the individual restaurants are opening up. Mm-hmm. So we feel very close. We get along very well. We've had a lot of interactive exercises building up to this to build our relationships. And I think Sam chose a really good team. I don't know what his list was that he was checking off, but we certainly are all happy and kind individuals and happy to be a part of ChefReady. And yes, the total group is so diverse. I mean, as you can see, I'm a senior citizen. I mean, Sam is from an island.
You bring wisdom.
I do. I bring wisdom. And a certain sense of calm, perhaps, although I'm a little high strung. But you know, we have every identity, culture, gender, and I believe that was a model for ChefReady, and they trained us highly in diversity, and we had films and many exercises, plus our kitchens are so diverse. We work really well together. We're a great team. There's a great vibe there. I'm just very excited now that the kitchens are opening. It's just amazing to see it just blossom.
Laurel, you're giving me all the feels. I cannot tell you how much it means to me, to everyone at Best Served, to anybody who's watching this, to hear that kind of thing, because we haven't spent enough time cultivating the humans. We've said, your body, your hands, get in there and let yourself get beat up until the shift is over. Like, you're only as good as your next plate. Smile as part of your uniform. Leave your shit at the door. All of these tropes that we perpetuate that just don't work to serve the hospitality of the people that matter first, which is not actually the guest. It is actually the humans, the people that are part of the team. That's the value. And so I love hearing that, especially when we consult on projects. We're trying to put so much good into that ecosystem. We're trying to bring so much thought and creativity, and we don't always know, because Sam, yourself, Brenda, Xavier, you have to pick it up and run with it. And Sam, who we're going to talk to next, has been such a great leader of like really seeing this through.
He absolutely
has. I really appreciate hearing from you that it's actually happening. I'm excited about that. And you mentioned the diversity, and another investment that Neely and Steven, the ChefReady team, made that a lot of others don't, is there was actually diversity, equity, and inclusion training built into what we were doing. And we brought in Mo Abdullah from Culture Energized, did I believe like a 3-hour interactive process. Myself, Andrew even sat in on some of that, and I learned a lot just about our biases and the way that we communicate and the language that we use. And so I'm interested. Have you been able to continue to deploy that? Was that valuable? Do you believe that that was a good investment into the team?
Yes, that was an amazing investment. I think that a lot of the younger people, they grow up in a diverse society, but speaking for just myself, the older generation, I really have to relearn everything, and I'm happy, so happy to do it.
Right.
But we do use those buzzwords from the 3-hour video, and I mean, we're kind of joking, but not really joking, but just we use buzzwords to tease each other, like, oh, that was, that was a something. And but yeah, we definitely call on that every day. We have it written on our walls. We have posters on our walls about the diversity that we have there. And
good. We need some pictures of that. I like hearing stuff like that.
Yes.
For you and the team, as you're now interacting with the tenants, right? Because
yes.
of this project, I mean, literally, they thought they were going to be open a year ago, and so many challenges and struggles that it takes to open a new concept, especially one that there's not really an understanding of the model, and so regulations and permitting and inspections, all of those type of things. So now concepts are opening. Right.
Yes.
And there's a couple open, and then now there's a big wave. I think there'll be 7 or 8 that'll be fully open here coming very, very shortly, like as these episodes are coming out. What's it like now to get to actually get into the swing of things? You're not just training, you're not just team building, you're not just developing your systems, but you're getting to see food go out the door. What does that feel like?
That is a hard shift. Hard meaning solid, and it's exciting. We have dreamt about this for weeks and weeks, and now that the food is coming out, and the food is just amazing. I mean, it is not second rate. It's not fast food. It's absolutely delicious and first rate. But to just see the activity in the hallway, the chefs interacting with each other, sharing tips, and the drivers coming in and being excited, it's just thrilling. It really is. It's just such a change from when it was quiet and being built, and now all this activity. It's just wonderful.
Oh, I like it. The bustle of everything kind of
absolutely
working together, everything working, everything not working, and figuring it out. All of those pieces that takes. So, Laurel, really appreciate the work that you've done to this point. The very much that you have this like mama bear sense about you. I love that you're playful and even, poking fun at yourself and being willing to relearn things. I think that is important. We all need a little bit more of that. We get so stuck, so rigid, especially in thinking that our hospitality industry is supposed to be one way, and now we're looking at it completely differently. So Thank you for that, Laurel. I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much, Jensen. Have a good day.
All right, take care. All right, everyone. Last, not least, by even a little bit, Sam Eligio, General Manager of ChefReady. Sam, incredible to see you. So great to get to meet your team that you've been able to develop, that you've been able to all this core team has been here for months and months. We know how hard it is for this labor shortage, and big air quotes, happening right now. A lot of it is because we see we're not investing in our most valuable asset, our people. Yet you, ChefReady, the work that we've been doing with Best Serve, that was the only thing that mattered, was investing in people. What's it been like to be able to develop this team, to be able to grow them, to be able to keep them all together as this thing was getting opened?
Well, the biggest reward is actually, the team itself. I mean, of course, we went through the process, and, I choose people according to personality, not by experience, for sure.
Yes.
And then the one thing that I also keep in mind is that I make sure when I hire this person, he's compatible with the next person I plan to hire. Mm-hmm. So, and the great thing about it right now is it's only been about 5 months, but 0 turnovers. Come on.
I mean, hold up. Let's pause on that for one moment. I want to pause on that for a moment because just a couple days ago, I was hosting a Clubhouse chat with the James Beard Foundation, talked about unpacking the labor shortage. And there were so many stats, and I was throwing out stats of 72% turnover rates traditionally, 78 in the last few years, over 130% currently through COVID. Like average tenure of a restaurant employee is 56 days. Like these numbers are dire. And the turnover rate is costing restaurants hundreds of thousands of dollars just in turnover costs. let alone productivity and efficiency and all that. Zero turn. Sam, I hope for a moment you pat yourself on the back a little bit. Andrew Parr, especially bringing you in as the general manager, feeling really smart right now that we found absolutely the right leader for this zero turnover. Like a moment of silence, people, for the fact that it is possible. And it takes investing in people. It takes developing those workplaces worth working initiatives that were so important to us. It's the DEI training. It's the team building. So it is possible, people. You need to invest in that. Oh, absolutely, man. Tell me now that you're getting open. We talked about there's the hustle, the bustle, the technology. It's a struggle, and yet it's the connective tissue. It has to happen. Yet there's so much to learn, and there's a new API, and there's a new integration, there's a new workaround all the time. What's it been like now that you're open? What are some of the things you see as an operator that you can give us a little insight? Somebody who might be opening their own concept, or one of the tech companies listening in. How do we make our product better? What do we need to be thinking about?
The biggest thing that you should be thinking about is actually, planning ahead. That's a big factor, right? And then when you're planning ahead, try and stay ahead, because just like with anything else, right? If you don't plan, there's going to be a lot of delays. You don't get the right people in place, there's going to be a lot of delays. And I mean, we experienced that in the past few months, past few months for the owners themselves, a year. Holy cow. So, but once you get all those in place, you have a plan. Stick to that plan, right? If that plan's not coming through, go to the next plan until you can come back to that plan and work it out. But you got to keep moving forward, regardless.
Yep, I hear you there, Sam. Talk about two different things that I think are interesting that play into what I'm hearing from you. I talk about plan makers. There's two types. There's gunslingers and bean counters. Gunslingers are like, I've done this before. I'm going to get in there. I'm just going to figure shit out and shoot everything until it submits to my will. And they don't have a plan. They just go in guns blazing. There's the bean counters who make a plan and never change because they can only see a singular path. And I talk about, you got to be like the coach. You got to script your game plan. You got to have a sound game plan, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and then you do the halftime adjustments. And I think that's what you're talking about. That I think is really important to understand is like, you have to have a really solid plan. You got to stay ahead, and then you need to adjust and not get so stuck on that single path. I think is important. And part of that plays into, it is a strength and a weakness. We're so reactionary. We're so counterpunchers. We're so focused on the next plate, the next guest, the next turn, the next step of service. It keeps us in the moment, which I think is valuable and a strength. Yet it means we're never thinking ahead. We're only thinking the next 15 minutes. What are we thinking about for the next week, the next month, the next year? And being strategists is some of what you're talking about there. So I appreciate hearing that. Let's talk about tenants now. Now there are operators in there bringing their concepts to life, right? And in this virtual food hall model, we see the cloud kitchen models as well. There's a lot of juggernauts in that space, and there's very much been this churn and burn mentality. Get a 6-month lease, and they barely last 3 months because there's just not that support and infrastructure. There's so much support, right? They get time with the Best Served team, and they get clear on process. ChefReady is invested in that. They get time and training with your team. They get the support of being able to have that hospitality end to end. What's it been like being able to interact with these tenants?
For one thing, we chose our tenants pretty darn good because I mean they're a wonderful team. The biggest thing that I saw or is seeing is the support they have for one another. We have Tom and Kevin that's been there for a while, right? And Tom is
from Old School Heroes and McKinners, yes.
Yeah, Old School Hero McKinners. Tom, who owned Old School Heroes, he's such a delight because anything that he's learned, right? He goes to the new tenants. Oh, we need to think about this. Hey, how about this? So you see him helping out other tenants, which is fantastic, right? And then at the same time too, especially the younger ones, right? They go to him as the Papa Bear. And then once you're like, hey, what do you suggest about this? So they get ideas from Tom, this is Tom's first business, but on his own. But he's actually been in. That's his first own concept, but he's been in the business for 20 plus years.
Yeah, he's been running big operations
Yeah,
stuff, so he's
yeah.
kind of seen a
And
lot of aspects.
what's interesting too, is that you have Kevin on the other realm, right? Who's had a brick and mortar, right? And just like what you said, he's focused on just one thing, right? So you saw the two different successes right now. And I'll be honest, I mean, he's struggling, but at the same time too, right? He needs to open up that book and say, hey, I got to try some new stuff, And that's one of the biggest things about new tenants is that because it's their first business, they're willing to open up their Instagrams, their Facebooks, their, all their social platforms and just get feedback without thinking like, I need all the feedback I can to see where's the most successful. So, and they share that with each other, right? Which is awesome.
Yeah, I love hearing that. I've even seen them posting about each other on social media, things like that. So really appreciate that collaborative spirit. This is such a new venture, as Brenda kind of highlighted at the beginning, yet it's kind of all a rising tide lifts all ships kind of mentality. Is like all of us need to figure out those little tricks, those little tips, those little challenges and struggles we've gone through. How can we learn from that and support and help each other? Because that's just going to go around and continue to elevate and level up everybody's game. Tom, as you mentioned, even spent months and months as a driver, wanting to kind of learn and understand what it took to be a driver. And he's bringing that perspective. So you just see people being very innovative and thoughtful in their approach. The Dorsey family having somebody on the ChefReady team and then their own concept, they're thinking about seeing all sides of the equation. So Sam, really, really grateful to have been able to be a part of this journey with you and to be able to highlight you and your team. And people, 0 turnover. For a new opening. New openings have over 100% turnover rate traditionally in restaurants anyway. 0 as your opening, and you're opening a brand new type of concept. So it just speaks volumes to what you all have been able to develop. And so I appreciate it. I can't wait to see what you all do next. Keep up the leadership. Everybody make sure that you go and support the ChefReady team, the tenants that are there. Say hi to Xavier, Laurel, Brenda, Sam. In that 3 minutes that you have at that front door, they will show you true hospitality, even if they only have 3 minutes of your time, because it's in them and they believe in it. So thank you so much for what you're doing, Sam.
Yeah, you as well.
All right, we'll let you go. Appreciate you. Cheers. Have a great rest of your day.
Peace.
All right, everyone, that is it for this episode. And so happy, again, that we're able to introduce you to some of the people, some of the organizations, businesses that we get to work with behind the scenes, trying to amplify the worth and work of those who feed their community. And that's who you get to meet through this. So once again, this was Best Served Podcast 352, Stories of Launching and Marketing a Virtual Kitchen with ChefReady, part 1 of 3 of this series. So check out the full 3-part series. There'll be links so that you can track the full story there and kind of get the in-depth. And if you're in the Denver metro area, make sure and support these small food entrepreneurs. It really matters. That's it. Appreciate you all. Cheers.